Welcome to Drum Corps Central, a podcast. I am a 13-year-old drum corps superfan who loves all forms of the marching arts. Thanks for watching the podcast today. There will be an almost daily episode of this podcast recapping the previous night's drum corps scores and looking ahead. Today is Wednesday, July 11th, 2018. Last night, 3 shows on the DCI tour. Our first look at some open class scores, our first look at some West Coast scores coming east, I guess you could call it. And tonight we get 4 shows, all in very separated parts of the country, so like Georgia and Iowa, etc. So we got 3 shows last night, 4 tonight. Also a look at the world and open class leaderboards as they stand right now. Let's get started. First up last night, Drums Along the Rockies, the first part of this series in Kuna, Idaho, the Boise area. 2 open class scores, once again, the Battalion and Columbians. The Battalion pull away here by 1.8, 58.8 to a 57 even. Then down in world class, Santa Clara Vanguard, their score goes down by a 10th, 84.5 the night before to an 84.4. Not a huge decrease. Doesn't affect them that much. The Blue Knights not this show, so they're not on here. The Academy then 75.8, Troopers 72.4. Look at that gap between Pacific Crest and Oregon Crusaders, though, 66.9 to a 66.7 for the Oregon Crusaders. Oregon Crusaders had led Pacific Crest in their first meeting of the season last Friday. Ever since Pacific Crest was growing their lead, now it's down to just 0.2 they lead by. I think that as I keep saying, it's a great year for drum corps, both like off the field when we look at like these spreads and everything, but also on the field, the shows are just incredible. Like a few years, the shows aren't so good, but the scores are great. This year, both of them are equally awesome. I mean, I can't think of a show this year that I'd really just say they're I don't have to see that again. Almost every single show from 1 to 24 is fantastic this season. And I think we see that here with like the Pacific Crest Oregon Crusaders gap. Like those 2 shows are probably awesome. I haven't seen either yet, but they're only 0.2 apart. I think it's fantastic. Let's take a look at the scoring recap for Drums Along the Rockies Boise edition last night. So, first, open class. A partial panel last night at this show. No color guard judge, no percussion judge, and no brass judge. So the 3 sub-captions that everyone loves to look at for analysis, they're not there. So here you have the Battalion doing well in G1, that judge likes them. General Effect 2, that goes to the Columbians. Overall General Effect, that margin's great for the Battalion in General Effect 1. Can't make it up in General Effect 2, so overall General Effect to the Battalion. Go over to visual proficiency, and visual analysis. The Battalion are just so good in visual. 0.6 in visual proficiency and 0.3 in visual analysis. A 9/10 victory, 24-1 to 23-2. Then over in music, that music analysis judge gives the Battalion first, 11.8 to 11.3. I think that the Battalion's large win, 58.8 to a 57 even, I think that might be in part because of the partial panel, that the panel said that that the brass and percussion and color guard judges weren't there. That might be some areas where the Columbians are strong, maybe the Battalion are a little weak. A reminder, tonight, Columbians' last show of the season, great season for them as they have been having. I think that they'll take away from this season a huge success in terms of on the field and off, in terms of competition and on-field performance. Then in world class, I want to break down Pacific Crest and Oregon Crusaders. That's really the only battle here. Everybody else is just solid 1s, 2s, 3s, etc. So, General Effect 1, that judge liked the Oregon Crusaders by a 10th. General Effect 2, Pacific Crest. So overall general effect, that Pacific Crest gap is larger, so 26.5 to a 26.4. Pacific Crest beats Oregon Crusaders in general effect. Visual proficiency to Pacific Crest, visual analysis to Pacific Crest, overall visual to Pacific Crest, 27.2 to 26.8. So general effect, only a 10th. That's not going to harm Oregon Crusaders. Visual without that color guard judge, 4/10, not bad for Oregon Crusaders. You can make up 4/10. Music then. Only one judge here, which may be in large part why they got this, I guess you could call it victory, by only losing by 2/10. Oregon Crusaders, 3/10 better in music analysis. So overall, music, that goes to the Oregon Crusaders. I think that it was more because of this partial panel of why they closed. I think it's why the battalion pulled away as well. But I think you have to do well on every scale. I think that's all what DCI is about. If you need to be able to be the best in every single situation that you possibly can. So, then, Sioux City, Iowa, DCI Morningside last night. Open class, River City Rhythm, another impressive victory, 55.7 to the Colt Cadets, 52-1. Look at that Colt Cadet score. A few years ago, we were talking about them scoring like mid-40s. Now, they have really ramped it up this year to a 52-1. Right now, they are looking really good in terms of making finals this year. World class Mandarins. They defeated the Blue Stars. I said here yesterday, I thought the Blue Stars would probably pull off this victory, but they didn't. Mandarins win by a whopping 8/10 of a point. That is huge for them. We knew they were strong this year. We did not know that they would be so strong. You think Blue Stars probably a 10th, 11th, 12th place score. That means the Mandarins are at least probably 10th right now. I think that's fantastic for them. Keep going down, Blue Stars. Not a bad night at all for them, really, other than coming down and having the Mandarins score above them. I think that score is fine. That 77-6 is a really good score. That's something that's fine. That'll get you in finals. Whatever, that's a fine score. Colts then third, 73-8. Genesis fourth, impressive score, 67-3. Let's take a look at the scoring recap for DCI Morningside. So here's a look at the open class recap. You see another partial panel here. No color guard, brass, or percussion judges, just like it was over in that Western show in Boise. The closest the Colt Cadets could pull to River City Rhythm here was in visual proficiency, 3/10 advantage there for River City Rhythm. Then we go over to world class. So here is how the Mandarins got a victory over the Blue Stars. General effect, that harms the Mandarins. 2/10 in GE1, a 10th in GE2, that throws the Blue Stars on top in general effect. That's something when you have 24 cores at a show, you cannot be 3/10 behind a core that might be a place or two ahead of you in general effect. Then over in visual, Mandarins really pull this one off. 1.3 in visual proficiency. That is just amazing for the Mandarins. Then you go over to visual analysis, only a 10th. Overall visual, really where they're getting it done. 32.2 for the Mandarins to a 30.8 for the Blue Stars. Then you go over to music analysis. The Blue Stars first in that, 15-3 to 15 even. I'd love to see where the color guard, brass, percussion judges put these guys, especially brass and percussion, because you get two captions in visual, you get a pretty good idea of where they are. But by having only one in music, you can't really get that clear, where are they? So let's move on now. Let's move on to Valdosta, Georgia, and drums across America. Open class, our first look at three of these four cores: Louisiana Stars, Guardians, Southwind, Heatwave. They performed on Sunday in Orlando. Louisiana Stars, I believe, finished 6th last year in open class. This year they're off to another hot start, 56.55. The Guardians finished second with a 55.45. Southwind third with a 54.85. Heatwave coming fourth with a 50 even. I think Heatwave is down in that lower range where I think we all thought they probably would be on that bubble. I don't think anybody this year in open class is just so far out that they have no chance. They have zero chance to make finals. I think all 16 cores have a chance to make finals. And I think that a few of those 16 cores have a real chance to potentially get up with Vanguard Cadets and Blue Devils B once they go head-to-head with them and potentially mess with them and get them to fall below one of those cores like Spartans or Gold or Legends. I'm just naming a few. So that's the open class picture. Then down in world class, Carolina Crown 82.25, Cadet 79.25. Then you can see the rest here. Jersey Surf, a good night. Catch up to Music City. Let's take a look at the scoring recap for drums across America. Open class first. I want to tell you how Louisiana Stars got their victory. Here's how it happened. General effect, and really this is a 3-horse battle here. Louisiana Stars first in general effect 1, Southwind get first in general effect 2, but Louisiana Stars get over the Guardians for second. So overall general effect, Louisiana Stars first, 22-9, 22-4 for Southwind, and a 22-1 for the Guardians. Then you go over to visual proficiency, 1, 2, 3, 4, visual analysis. Here's where it gets kind of bad for the Louisiana Stars. You get the Guardians first, Southwind second, Louisiana Stars third. Color guard then, 1, 2, 3, 4. Overall visual, 1, 2, 3, 4. You go down the music then, brass goes to the Guardians at 11 even, second a 10.4 for Southwind, third a 10.2 for the Louisiana Stars. A strong night for the Guardians brass, a good job by them, by 8/10 over Louisiana Stars, very impressive. Music analysis then, 1, 2, 3, 4. Music percussion, Louisiana Stars get the victory by 2/10 over Southwind, Guardians third. Overall music, after all that, goes to the Louisiana Stars, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the open class picture, and I really had to dig in here because it's that 3-horse battle. Tonight, I believe all 3 of these scores go to Houston, Georgia. Who knows? Maybe tonight we could have Southwind, Guardians, Louisiana Stars. Who knows? Then over on the world class side, not much to see here. If you go down to Music City and Jersey Surf, that might be the biggest thing to look at here. General effect, all Music City. Visual, all Music City. But then you get down to brass. That's really where Jersey Surf is really ahead of Music City. And really, it's only a 10th here, but I think every show they've had against them, they've outperformed them. I think that is a area of greatness, I guess you could say, for Jersey Surf this season. You see, they pull close in some things. That's how they get within 2.5 of Music City. Now let's take a look at the DCI World Class Leaderboard for this morning. So, here's what it looks like after all the crazy action on the World Class side last night. You see tonight, over in the next show column, all but 2 cores have a show. Carolina Crown, they have off until Alexandria on Saturday. And Pioneer, they have off until Dubuque on Friday. Every other core, though, has a show tonight. Vanguard at the top. Bluecoats did not have a show last night. Blue Devils did not have a show last night. Crown, that score is not... if I'm Crown, I want to be above the Blue Devils in this situation here, but I think that'll all piece out. Keep going down here. Look at the Mandarins. 78-4 to 8th over the Blue Stars. Now, the Blue Knights did not perform. Phantom did not perform. Tonight, we'll get to see the Mandarins with the Crossmen and Blue Stars. That might have an impact. And they go before intermission because of where they have been in the past. And really, that's something that's hurt a few corps this year that are on the rise. Like the Boston Crusaders, I know, is one. They've gone on like very early, or even the Bluecoats, because they got that 5th place finish last year. We know they're really good this year, but they keep getting these bad draws. I guess you could consider those draws, because they were 5th last year and were not 1st, basically. You keep going down here, Bubble. Look at that, Crossman and Academy. I think once we put all 24 of these together at San Antonio, I think this will all be much more settled, I think. Or it'll even be more crazy, which it probably will be. DCI Open Class leaderboards for this morning. So left, including all corps, regardless if they go to championships or not. Right side leaderboard, excluding corps that will not be at championships. You see the battalion. Look at that. Great season. Colombians too. 4th and 6th for those 2 corps right now. I hope the Colombians finish off their season strong tonight. Battalion, they have, I believe, 2 weeks. Their final show's on the 24th. I believe it's like kind of their home show. So, really good seasons for them. Over on the championship leaderboard, you now see all 16 and all 22 open class corps have performed. You see, there's 4 out right now. Heatwave, Raiders, Impulse, Shadow. I'm going to walk you through 2 of their cases. Raiders, they have not had a show in a few days, and Impulse, they have not performed for like 2 weeks. Impulse, really, that 48.65, that is looking really strong right now. For when they lay down that score is looking really strong. They might have something special in that core this season. Heatwave, I think they'll be right there, and I think Shadow, I think they've got a few points to gain. If they can gain those, I think they'll be right in the hunt. As I said, I think all 16 got a real chance to get in this year. I think it's going to be a big battle as we go through the season and we get to Michigan City in August. Now let's take a look at tonight's shows for Wednesday, July 11th, 2018. So, first up tonight, Ogden, Utah, and Core Encore. 6:30, Welcome and National Anthem, 7 o'clock, First Corps on. The Colombian season finale for them. Wish them good luck tonight. The Battalion then 7:15, then an odd 30-minute time slot for them. DCI schedule on their website is quite weird for this show. But then 7:45, the Oregon Crusaders, 8:02, Seattle Cascades, intermission, followed by the 5 other corps that have been on the Pacific Northwest tour. Blue Knights go on last. That may affect their score just a little bit, make it a little inflated. We'll watch Pacific Crest and Oregon Crusaders. This might benefit Pacific Crest tonight. They go on 3 corps into the second half. Oregon Crusaders go on first, have the world-class scores, so that might hurt them. That's really all to look for. Santa Clara Vanguard, where can they keep going? I think Vanguard might be, I think I'm kind of overlooking them right now. Like, they are, I think, really good, and by getting these 84, 85s, 86s they might be, who knows, maybe they'll lay down that tonight. I think I'm just really overlooking them. I just think that they might be better than I think they are. I think that they will be just as good as they were last season. I think it's going to come down to Vanguard, Bluecoats, and I'm sure the Blue Devils will stick up their neck into that somehow, because that show is just as great as those 2 are. Core Encore, Stewart Stadium at Weber State University in Ogden, Utah. Weather forecast hot, but a great night for drum corps. So next up tonight, we have Zionsville, Indiana, DCI Crossroads, presented by the Soundsport International Music and Food Festival, which is on the morning of finals in Indianapolis. So here's the lineup. Legends, Madison Scouts, Phantom Regiment, the Cavaliers, Blue Devils. What should we watch out for? Blue Devils, what is their gap to the Cavaliers? Is it larger or smaller than expected? Where does Phantom compare? I think Phantom versus Mandarins might be something we might talk about the whole season. Where do they compare against where the Blue Stars and Crossmen and Mandarins all are sitting at that other show? And Madison, where do they compare to where the Colts are tonight? So, Zionsville Community High School is the host of this show in Zionsville, Indiana. You see the weather here looking really good. Low 80s to high 70s. Great night for drum corps. We actually have not had a rain out yet this year, which is quite magnificent this late in the season. I guess you could say this is late. Other than that weather delay in Orlando that we all had to sit through on flow marching the other day, I don't think any show has been distracted by weather this year. Very good year in terms of weather even for DCI. Next up, Hodgson, Georgia, Drums Across America. We see 3 of those 4 open class scores from last night, excluding Heatwave tonight, Southwind Guardians, Louisiana Stars. See where they line up. Music City, can they pull closer to Jersey Surf? Then the second half, we got Cadets, Bluecoats, Boston Spirit. How do the Bluecoats compare to where Vanguard is? Boston, how do they compare with where Crown was last night? And then the Cadets and Spirit, we can compare them to other corps if need be. Few notes for Drums Across America. Mill Creek High School in Hodgson, Georgia. Weather for this one looks great as well, 87 to 81 as the show goes on. Lastly tonight, Johnston, Iowa, and Celebration Brass, 2 open class corps here with Colt Cadets and River City Rhythm. And get Genesis, Mandarins, Crossmen, Blue Stars, Colts here at this one. Something to take in consideration here, the Mandarins going on before intermission, that might affect their score a little bit. But if they could defeat the Crossmen too, the Blue Stars are actually better than the Crossmen in terms of scores this season. But just to defeat the Crossmen, I think for the Mandarins might just be another little, okay, another one behind our back. Let's keep going up. And you might ask, why does it matter when they go on? And the reason it does, because the later you go on in a show, it's widely thought that the judges compare you to the groups before you, so they give you a little bit of a higher score if you're better than them. Now, if you're worse than them, they might lower your score a little bit. And I love the new rule about how they will reseed everybody after San Antonio, because maybe you weren't good last year. Like a group like the Bluecoats were 5th last year. Boston's kind of coming up this year, maybe even a 4th, and they were 6th last year. The Mandarins were 13th last year. They might be a top 10 this year. Just a few of those groups. And I think that that is just a great thing, because to give those corps a reward for doing well this year is better than rewarding what they did last year, when some of the members probably weren't even the same, some of the staff was different, all those different considerations. A few notes for Celebration and Brass, Johnston High School Stadium in Johnston, Iowa. There is a heat advisory in effect until 8 p.m. That will affect the first hour of the show, but it will more affect these corps rehearsal days within that area. 88 to 84, of course, it's hot if there's a heat advisory in effect. But great night for 4 shows of drum corps. There might be some scattered showers around the Ogden, Utah area that might affect it, but I don't think that will be too much of a factor in that show. And now just a few things before I'm done here today. Make sure to check out drumcorpscentral.weebly.com for all your latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours. Scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more can all be found on my own personal website all about drum corps, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DrumCorpGeek and subscribe to my YouTube channel where this podcast and more as the season goes on will be posted, Drum Corps Central. Thank you for watching here today. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Drum Corps Central, a podcast. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. Good luck to all performing corps this evening.